What up, though? Welcome back to the Beat Factory 313 War Stories podcast. And I'm your host, Juice. And I got one of my brother mans back here with y'all today. Let them know who we got here, Mobile.
My name is Mario Wilson Hill.
Islam King, how the brother be today?
I'm all right. How you doing, Moore?
All is well. Let the people know where you at and how you got in this situation as of today.
Well, at this time, I'm incarcerated at Lakeland Correctional Facility for second-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
And during the course of this incarceration, in my trials, the courts found it to say that I was a menace to society and that I wasn't capable or had any real value on life. So they incarcerated me, and I've been incarcerated since 2001. 1991 in this case.
Right, 91. Okay. And
yes,
what's some of the things you've been going through dealing with the courts now? Because I know you are eligible for release. So let them know how that journey has been, Mobile.
Well, it's been a rocky one because every time that you find through your research and your limited capacity of understanding about the law, when you put your paperwork in, it seems to be one roadblock after another. You know, when you say that you have ineffective assistance of counsel, right? That means that your counsel didn't represent you in a proper way. Now, and you are showing that this occurred, but in the courts want it to the letter. If they say, if you say that he didn't represent you correctly, they're going to say it might have been trial strategy. So in every turn, you being shot down for whatever reason. Other people will come up behind you with cases similar to yours and get action that you can't get.
And why is that?
Well, most cases it'd be because of their race, because if we really look at it for what it is, they don't think our race of people, as black people or as Asiatics, that we deserve any real shot at anything. So, because at the time that I was going to trial, remember the murder of Malice Green by the officers?
Uh-huh.
I was going to trial at the same time they were. And so we got convicted at the same time, and their case was pushed through the courts a lot quicker than mine on appeal. They're out and have been out for quite some time, and I'm still facing the same thing. And I was convicted of second-degree aiding and abetting.
Okay. Meaning, let the people know what that means. For those who don't know,
second-degree aiding and abetting is where the court said that I was involved in a crime, that I assisted the person that I was with in committing this crime. That's second degree. Well, that's aiding and abetting. The second degree is it was a murder, and so they charged me with first-degree murder, but the jury convicted me of second-degree murder, meaning there was no real malice in the murder. It just happened.
Okay.
In my part.
Right. And still with the aiding, you end up with a second-degree life.
Yes, sir, because with aiding and abetting, if I'm with a person in the commission of a crime, and if I'm not the actual individual, the aider and abetter is charged with the same thing that the person that committed the crime is.
And so,
yeah.
But go ahead.
The thing about my case is, it was proven that I wasn't the actual murderer. I aided and abetted in it, but the guy that I was on trial with, he took a bench trial and got 8.5 to 15 involuntary manslaughter, and I got found guilty by the jury of second-degree aiding and abetting.
Are you serious?
He got almost 20 years.
Hold on, you got more time than the actual murderer, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So how that transpired? Did y'all have the same trial, or y'all took different trials?
No, I had the trial severed because some mitigating factors against him that was already in the play, right? And so when it went to trial, he came and testified on the part of what I did, and so that's how they gave me more than what they gave him, because he pushed everything off on me. But when all the trial thing had ended, the jury said that they believed him and things of this nature. Whereas sitting in front of the judge gonna go by the letter of the law. The jury really doesn't know the law. They really go off of emotions and feelings.
So you telling me the prosecution had him to come as a witness against you?
Yeah, I got it in the transcripts.
And he was the actual murderer. So was your lawyer able to bring up that he was the actual murderer in your trial?
Yeah, but I still had a public attorney, a public defender. And so now, in the course of my trial, what happened was I had Michael Batchelor at first, right? And so 2 weeks before the trial came up, Michael Batchelor had got caught up in a scandal where he was proposing to women sex for his services, right? And so they pulled him off of my case and gave me this lady called Patricia Solomsky, who wasn't really prepared to go to trial, but went anyway. But the thing about it is ignorance of the law means nothing. So they don't care if you understand what the law is or not. They're gonna proceed without any hesitation. And so during the course of the trial, she didn't preserve any of my rights and by saying objection or any of that thing. And so some of the issues that I wanted to fight up under, because it wasn't preserved in trial, I couldn't use it as an appeal.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So, we have to inform the youth and guys that's coming up behind us about the reasons why violence and things of this nature doesn't pay off, whether you right or wrong, because you're going to have to do some time. And the way the prison and stuff set up now is not conducive to them talking about rehabilitation. The only reason a lot of guys is getting any action now is because they came up with the juvenile life law, saying that they can't charge a youth with first degree murder anymore and straight out give them life.
Okay.
So what they're doing is they're trying to push a lot of the older people out. A lot of us is getting out, right?
Right.
So because they preparing for this new generation to come in. And prison from when I first came in to where it is now has drastically changed.
Let them know in which ways.
Taking away stuff.
Right.
Huh?
I say let them know in which ways.
They like when I first come in, we was able to have face-to-face visits with our parents, our nieces, our nephews, and everything of this nature. All they had to do was come up with a valid person with a valid ID, and y'all be able to have a visit, right?
Right.
Now you have to submit an application. You can't see your nieces and nephews until they're turned 18. Phone calls now is so hindering. Most of the time you can't get in touch with your people because they don't hear the ringing part on their end. And as far as doing time, you don't get adequate food. You don't get adequate medical care. Right now I got prostate cancer, and it's the third time that it's come back up. And so they don't see you like they're supposed to see you. I'm chronic care. I might not see my provider for a whole year.
Get out of here. So even with your
everything.
Go ahead.
Again?
I was about to say, even with your
everything that we put in for now, Lansing has to approve. And that is because when I first got locked up, health care, the state was taking care of us. So we could get whatever it was that needed to be done. But because they privatized health care, the insurance people that's bagging them, when I first put in for a biopsy, they denied it. They denied it 2 times until it was blood in my urine. And so then they want to do the biopsy, and then I came when the biopsy came back, it said I had aggressive form of prostate cancer, stage 3. I was 47 years old, young cat. I had to have my entire prostate removed. Right now, I can't have erections or anything of that nature. And it's, I think they really hindered me. Because if I could get out right now, I wouldn't be able to make a child or even actually have an erection. So, everything has changed in regards to this prison thing. And what I want the youth to understand is if there's another way that you can do things, try it that way instead of using violence or selling drugs or whatever you think that's wrong. It's not worth you losing your life, because that's exactly what we're losing in here. If they say I'm locked up for second-degree parolable life, at some time that means I'm supposed to be able to get a parole. It's 34 years later, and I still haven't got one.
But they let the actual murderer release. So
they'll let the actual murder. He's been home over 20 years.
Make that make sense.
Make that make sense. And so the thing about it is, I'm not upset about it because I understood that I participated in an event that took somebody's life. I don't want nobody to ever overlook that part right there.
Mm-hmm.
I participated in something that took a person's life. I do have to pay a penalty. But what I would like to understand is, at what cost do we continue a penalty?
Right. Let the time fit the crime.
Exactly. Let the time fit the crime. Right. So I've been 27 years ticket free. I've been avid spokesman for prison populations everywhere I go. I'm a facilitator. A facilitator is an individual that teach classes. I'm working right now as a facilitator in victim awareness. And what that is where I'm informing individuals the rights of a victim and what they're going through and what empathy and sympathy looks like.
That's
to show that I am ready for society, and I have a great hold on how to preserve life.
And the thing is, even with your medical condition, they haven't at the boards and the courts ain't took none of that in consideration. What you're going through medically,
none of that. That don't mean nothing to them. Because in this course that I'm teaching now, it asks you to write a letter to the victims.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you have to understand, you can't write the victim right out. You have to send it to the parole board, and then at the parole hearing, if the victim or the victim's family they'll read out what was wrote. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so what all that does is give you an opportunity to tell your side of whatever the story is. So some people will have closure in that matter. You remember that show, Restorative Justice?
Mm-hmm.
It was a story.
You have 1 minute remaining.
You want me to call back?
Yeah, I want you to call back too. Go ahead and finish what you was about to say.
But it was a show called Restorative Justice, and what Restorative Justice did was gave the victim's family and the victim opportunity to sit across from the individual that committed the crime. And they asked them, why did this happen and things of this nature. And what came out was that hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense to you?
Exactly. It does.
Hurt people hurt people. And what that is that at some point you realize what made you take the turn in your life to start doing criminal activity. See, because a lot of us, we wasn't raised to do that. Both my mother and father worked every day of their life, and they taught us better. But when I got out in the streets, I was looking at my friends and them, they doing their thing. And I jumped into that fast lane, and this is what it got.
That's right. And you facing your reality.
This is my reality.
Thank you for using GTL.
Mobile coming right back. I'm going to pause it right there, and we're going to continue this. Y'all hit that like, comment, and subscribe button for us, man. Y'all got to get these likes up and get the YNs where they can listen to these brothers that's doing the things that done the things that they are doing right now, so they can tell them what their outcome looks like. You feel me? If they don't get it together, because they are our future. So we're gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna come back, but please hit that like, comment, subscribe, and help get these views up. You know what I'm saying? And let them know that the streets ain't what it is. Paul, yeah.
In restorative justice, these is just some of the classes that I partook in to give me a different insight to myself and the things that I was going through. And so you have to look back in within yourself and find out what made you do things in which you did. Because don't nobody that I know of from the neighborhood that I grew up on. I grew up on Homer between Boston and Chicago on the west side, 2 blocks off of Dexter, right?
Okay.
I didn't never see guys wake up in the morning and say they're going to kill nobody, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is that as a youth, we were looking for identities, somewhere to fit in. And so what we did was when we stepped outside and we seen guys moving drugs, they looking nice, they got big money, we took a part of that and made it our character. When we seen a guy that was real aggressive and gangsterish, we took a part of that until we created this false identity of who we were. But the thing about it is that we didn't know we had to live up to that. See? And when you have to live up to that, it causes situations where you're waking up in the ashes of your own disaster and you asking yourself what happened. Mm-hmm. So what restorative justice does is give you an insight of that. What the Moorish Science Temple of America does, which is a religious organization that I'm a part of, what that does is help give you a better insight on the decision makings that you make, because it distinctly make you look at yourself, not point the blame on others. So this is why I take the courts, I take the parole board, I take everything out of that, and I have to look at me. Why did I do what I did? You know what I mean? And so I have to find them answers within myself.
Responsibility.
And it's not an easy journey, man, because, you know, again, I'm battling cancer, I got diabetes, I got high blood pressure, and all of these things have to be answered. And our medical system in here is not doing it.
Oh, we already know, but the people need to know. So yeah.
So, but in prison, why is more prisoners in prison with cancer than it is in the surrounding state or the surrounding community? Like here in Lapeer, half of the compound here has cancer, but it doesn't fit that outside of these prison walls.
And what are they doing about it there?
Huh?
And what are they doing about it?
They're not doing nothing about it. Half of these guys is dying. We got a whole unit dedicated to individuals with health problems. That cart be going up in there every day. Now that's not saying that everybody is dying though, but they're having situations and they're not allowing these guys their. Now remember a while back they had a thing where if they passed it to where if you was chronically ill, that you can get pardoned or commutation, right?
Right.
Man, that hasn't been happening, man. That's only done so they can say, if a person bring up a lawsuit concerning that they can say, okay, well, we let 2-3 guys go this year, but you have countless. You got Jackson is full of guys on the ward that's on their deathbed, and they ain't letting them go.
So how can we bring attention to this? How can we bring attention for the mass public to know what's going on and see fit to what to do about it?
Well, with platforms such as that you got here, you know, the Beat Factory 313. This is one of the avenues. Outside of that, it takes me contacting my mother, her getting contact with the Detroit Free Press or the Detroit News. We really have a selected, a very small avenue in which we can use, because when we put something out, the first thing that's said is that, oh, they just disgruntled inmates. And that's not always the case.
Like in your case.
At some point. Huh?
Like in your case.
Yeah, like in my case. That's not the case. I'm not a disgruntled inmate. I understand that I have to do time for a crime that I committed. And I'm all right with that. And so if if me being here for the rest of my life is what it is, then I have to accept it mentally that I may be able to use the rest of my life that I have in here, encouraging young guys that come in here, hey, man, this is not what's happening. And so I have a big following because I'm the assistant grand sheik here.
Okay.
And so I have a lot of young guys that love for me to be out on the yard because all I do is give them information that's going to help better them, because I want them to have a better quality of life that they don't see 30 and 40 years of being incarcerated.
That's right. Appreciate you for that too, Mobile.
Oh man, listen, man. When I found the Moore Science Temple of America and it saved my life, I told myself that I'm dedicating myself to making sure that I give individuals all the information that they will have to make better decisions that they can enjoy a better quality of life.
Because that's where it started, within yourself. You feel me?
Yes, indeed. Each one supposed to teach one. So when we find different skill and coping mechanisms that don't have you using drugs and things of this nature, but you're able to cope anyway, these are the things that we're supposed to pass on to the youth. So they'll have an idea of how to deal with things as they come. Because understand, in doing time, it's going to be something that's going to come up in front of you that's going to make you have to question yourself. You know what I mean? Because for a lot of us, in my case, my wife passed through COVID. So that just left me with just my mother.
I'm sorry to
hear
hear
what
that.
I'm saying? And she's 87 years old. She can't do much for me. And I don't expect her to, because I'm a grown man. I'm 57 years old. I'm supposed to be able to take care of myself with the limited situations that I'm faced with. So that means that I have to take on an understanding of how I must live my life to be productive, not, always looking for the quick fix and a fast out. That's what got me here, and I don't want to come in, or I don't want to leave the same way that I came in.
That's right. For real. So what is the next step so far our duties as citizens far as being able to help change these laws? Tell the people what they need to be doing.
Well, they have to get out to vote. The problem with our people is we continue to allow people to come to our communities seeking our vote, but we don't get anything. That is the number one thing we have to change. So if we're talking about changing laws and changing our communities, the number one thing we have to ask ourselves, well, who are the city council members? And what is their views in regards to raising our community or aiding us in changing our community? If these individuals are not doing the job, then it is our responsibility as individuals of the city to put people in office that's going to assist us in getting the things that we as the Asiatic community need to help us further our growth. So voting is the number one mechanism that we have to get behind. For so long, we have been saying, oh, man, that ain't for me. And so when things get bad, we steady want to cry, but we're doing nothing to fix the problem.
Mm-hmm. So we got to become.
The problem lies in us getting out, doing a civil job that we have to do. So if I have a child, my responsibility is to raise my child with an understanding about to leave this world or our community. If that makes any sense to you.
That makes a whole lot of sense. And see, parenting, taking on responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So getting out and voting and knowing who you voting for and making sure they stand on what
and so even with that, if they don't want to vote that way, vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
You love me, you care about me. Vote in a manner in which I've been researching that's going to further help progress our community. And so the thing about a lot of the parents out there now, they don't know. So it's responsibilities like myself, the platform that you have to push this information so these individuals can understand what the real issues is in our community. And one of the real issues is that we don't understand that we need each other.
That's right.
Our community is going to grow if we use each other as a platform. So if I have the skills to be a carpenter or a farmer, I'm supposed to get the youthful individuals in our community and teach them a skill.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't teach them nothing, do you remember, how old are you, more, if you don't mind me asking?
53.
You 53. I'm 57. When we grew up, we had boys clubs. We had all kind of
4-H's.
programs.
Yep.
We had all kind of programs that aided us, but we didn't take full advantage of them. We took advantage of them, but not to full advantage. They don't have any of that now. And so, but it's left up to us, because they're not going to, the Europeans is not going to teach us how to overcome poverty. That's not their job.
Nope.
They want you to stay poor so you be dependent on them. It's on us to teach our people, our youth, our elderlies, how these things are to be done. And we have to use platforms that, such as the Beat Factory 313, that's open for the community.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it takes all of us to help out and contribute.
It takes all of us to raise a nation. It takes all of us. That's why they say nation instead of person or individual. It's a nation. And so the thing is what really hurts our people, though, is distrust in one another. Now, when we overcome that aspect there, and the only way it's going to be overcame is that if I step out there and I begin to work within my community, and when I tell them a thing, they have to see that same thing that I told them in my actions and in my deeds.
Tell them again, for real.
They have to see that, because we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled by individuals with slick tongues that can tell you certain things, but don't go that way.
Do total contrary.
Total contrary. This is what hypocrisy is. See, we have to have individuals that has a purpose. When we wake up in the morning, we're supposed to have a purpose in life. And so my purpose is to make sure that the life that I'm living now reflects that which I say. I say I'm a Moorish American Muslim. We're talking about an individual that's upright, independent, and fearless. So my actions and my conduct must show to the people that that's what I am.
Exactly.
I'm reading this book called The Aquarium Gospel of Yoga.
Yeah, tough that.
Huh?
They don't know nothing about that. Tell them about it, Mobile. The Aquarium Gospel.
So in the Aquarium Gospel of Yoga, it says, until the words of our religion become alive in our lives, and to the lessons that they contain become a part of head and heart, so much so that when the individual view you, they know exactly what your religion is. So now that's not saying that they're going to say, look at you and say you are more, or they look at you and say you in a nation, or look at you and say you're a Christian. But what it is going to say is that your actions and your deeds and your conduct going to say that you are a righteous individual. You are an individual in which they can trust when we push these issues that they're going to come out and support you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the things in which we're missing in our communities. We don't have the individuals that's living a righteous life. I'm not saying guys ain't going to have no falling out or misunderstanding, but when we put our heart in the thing, I don't care who it is. I'm not going to never speak bad about Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know why? Because Minister Louis Farrakhan...
You have 1 minute remaining.
Minister Louis Farrakhan is showing that he loves our people because he out there with the people.
That's right. And get them a message
they're
before.
Getting ready to do count more. So, what is a better time, another time that I can call?
Call me first thing in the morning, and we'll finish this out. And give them something in closing before. Give them something in closing before you go, Mobile.
So, what I want the brothers to and the sisters to do is this: when you get up in the morning and you look in that mirror, ask yourself who you looking at. Is this an individual that you can be proud of? And if you say no, then I need you to look within yourself and find something to be proud of and ever act on that. We have to have principles in our lives and see that we ever act according to them. Islam?
Islam King. Talk to you first thing tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you more.
Appreciate you more. Appreciate you more. Islam.
Thank you for using GTL.
That was Brother Wilson Neal, and he dropped a hell of a measure for y'all brothers and sisters. And take that with food. Take that food of thought. You feel me? And try to apply what you did gain out of it. And with that being said, I'd like y'all to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Let the people know that the streets ain't what it is. You know, and our youth is our future. So we got to make sure they got the proper tools to fight this next battle. You feel me? Because they go be in for a hell of a battle if you see what they going through worldwide right now. Urban community to urban community, city to city. Look at what's going on with our youth. So it takes us older ones to prepare them properly with the right necessities. You feel me? So we got to get our stuff together. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna need y'all to go to that members only. Y'all missing a lot of exclusive content on the members only. Go check out that members only. Y'all still want to see that gangster stuff. But we got to support this stuff that feed the people. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And know that the streets ain't what it is. And it's 1,000,001 urban it's 1,000,001 stories in the urban community. This just but one. Pass the word, hit that like, comment, and share this content for me. And I'm out.